Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today I wanted to go over why it is that I oppose automated license plate readers in any way, shape, or form, even when you have government safeguards or laws in place to try and protect people from the abuses of privacy that occur. The reason that I oppose them is because there's been a survey that came out in the state of Virginia that just goes over how useless this is and how these safeguards were never even being used to begin with. I'm going to read from this for you, for anybody who's interested. For those of you who just don't really understand what the hell I'm talking about here, when we talk about these types of AI-powered surveillance cameras, we're talking about these cameras that police use. They're called automated license plate readers, but I don't call them automated license plate readers because they have the ability to pick up on every single item of your car, even if it doesn't have a license plate. It's an AI surveillance camera that can be used to track you everywhere that you go. And the way that this company's systems work is you can get access to 100 or 200 or 500 cameras, all from one centralized database. If you're the federal government or a federal agency, you can share with them so that one person in the federal government can have access to tens of thousands of cameras, be able to use a nice little ChatGPT-like interface to ask, where do people that look like this congregate? Or where did you think? It's very, very scary Minority Report-like stuff. And it's already being abused, as you can see here. This woman was told that she stole something, even though she had proof from her dash cam footage from her car that she never even stopped in the town where they were accusing her of stealing something. In spite of asking them, do you want to see the evidence that I didn't do what you're saying? The cop said this.
No, I work from home.
Okay. You know we have cameras in that town, and you can't get a breath of fresh air in or out of that place without us knowing, correct?
You can't get a breath of fresh air without us knowing. Lovely. And then you have other police that have used these cameras to stalk their ex-girlfriends. It's very creepy. One of the reasons you don't put AI surveillance everywhere is because it's very difficult to undo. So they did a survey in Virginia where they reached out to hundreds of different law enforcement authorities to ask how they use these cameras. There are laws that came out in the state of Virginia governing the use of automated license plate readers, and they wanted to see how things were going. And to be clear, we're dealing with the people who answered, and we're also assuming that they all answered honestly. Just keep that in mind. There was legislation that took effect on July 1st, 2025 in the state of Virginia that governed the way that these cameras are used. The law requires that automated license plate reader camera data get purged, deleted after 21 days. They surveyed 361 agencies in November of 2025, and let's read through the findings. Almost 1/3 of law enforcement agencies have not responded to the survey, so their use is unknown. So 1/3 of the agencies just said, you know what, nah, I'm not going to answer any questions in this topic whatsoever. No accountability, nothing. Of 159 of the agencies that used automated license plate readers, 137 out of 159 said that Flock is their vendor. 33 unique agencies said that they had a data retention period of over 21 days. 33 unique agencies reported a data retention period over 21 days across all types of automated license plate reader cameras. So this law has been in effect for over 6 months, and right off the bat, almost 10% of the police agencies and law enforcement agencies in Virginia are just not complying with it whatsoever. And again, they're honest about it. They're not lying to cover their ass and then changing the shit later. They're just outright saying, yeah, we're not obeying the law. Lovely. The new automated license plate reader statute does not allow Virginia law enforcement agencies to share ALPR data with out-of-state or federal law enforcement agencies. Yet 20 of those agencies granted continuous access to out-of-state law enforcement. 9 agencies granted continuous access to federal law enforcement. 26 out of 159 said that they don't even have a policy of any type regarding any of the stuff that's actually in the law. So the law is creating rules on how you utilize these devices, and 26 of the law enforcement agencies are like, yeah, we didn't even make a policy, much less our policy is not in line with your policy. And 55 of the 159 that responded said that they have taken no public awareness measures related to ALPR use. Now, we may wonder what's going to happen to those particular agencies or the people involved because they have broken the law. Surely there's going to be a consequence, right? The chair of the Crime Commission, Delegate Sharneil Herring, plans to send letters to law enforcement agencies whose survey responses indicate that their current practices are not consistent with the new statutory requirements for automated license plate reader use. Let's just put it in a context. Dozens of police departments in the state have admitted in writing that they're breaking the law, and the state's response is that they're mailing them letters. Do you see why I don't care about any of this? Thank you very much to Mike Siegel. You did a good job on writing a privacy policy for the state of Austin so that if we start using these cameras, at the very least, they're held to a standard. I appreciate that. I really do, and I talked about it in this video. Thank you. The reason that I am against all this shit, regardless of the privacy policy, is they're not going to follow it anyway. And if they don't follow it, what is the enforcement action going to be? And that's one of the reasons that you don't create a mass surveillance network to begin with is because if you don't have a mass surveillance network, then you don't have to worry about people that break the law. You don't have to worry about who's going to hold them accountable. You don't have to worry about what happens if nobody holds them accountable. You don't have to worry about who gets damaged in the meantime because you never built it. The best way to deal with this is not to write a privacy policy or to have a set of laws. The best way to deal with this is to never build the mass surveillance network to begin with. Maybe that makes me crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I will link to this document if any of you want the first-hand document by itself, and I will also link to the Consumer Rights Wiki page on all of this stuff, where I keep all of the things that I'm talking about when I talk about any of the events that have occurred, people that have been stalked, people that have been falsely accused, and so on and so forth. All the arguments against these things from a case law perspective, all of that is right here on consumerrights.wiki so that you can easily start pushing back against this in your area. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.